love him, but I also respect him, and that, I admire him, but not too much.
Succession is Game of Thrones for people that think fantasy is icky.
Succession is a really, really dysfunctional rich family.
I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. Succession is a multi-layered family business drama.
Ooh. Hello, everybody, and
Awesome.
welcome to Falling Towers, Watch the First podcast in which we watch first episode of a series so that you don't have to.
But you still can.
And you might. Today, of course, you may have guessed, we are doing the first episode of Succession. First episode is entitled Celebration. We've got our very special guest today, actress, producer, director, writer, Miss Kat Geren.
Hello, world.
Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
What a coincidence. When we introduce Muhammad, he says, hello, underworld. Dr. Muhammad Noor is also here, occasional science advisor and vice provost something at Duke University.
Hello, underworld.
See, do I lie?
Oh, you're right.
There's a movie or something that he said, do I lie, after he proved it right. Anyway, my name is Ryan T. Husk. It's not going to get any better from here. If you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, what's that, do I lie? I'll remember that quote. In the comments below, just type WTF in the show you'd like us to review, and we will review it. Maybe.
Don't forget to put the network too.
Yes. So, for example, in this case, you would have said Succession on Max.
Max.
So we
That's
could
right.
find it. Although
They
when
just
I typed
changed
in
that app.
when I typed in HBO, it still gave me HBO. So whatever.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. But we adapt. Anyway, let's move forward.
It's like what was happening in the show.
Ooh.
Muhammad, what do we do now? I have no idea.
Now we're in a predicament, which means we get to predict what each other thought of this show. I'm very excited.
Ooh, what a coincidence. Happens to be my favorite part of this show. Well, Muhammad and I have known each other for quite some time, pretty closely. Kat and I have known each other for, I don't know. Wow. Quite a while.
A while. Doesn't seem like that. Like time flies, but a while. We worked at a restaurant together.
Yeah, maybe like 10 years ago, something like that.
Oh, we have to come back to that.
Yes.
Yeah. We were both 9. They got closed down
with
for
child labor
annoying
laws,
us.
man. Yeah.
Anyway, so let's make some predictions. The point is, we know each other pretty well. Let's make some predictions. Muhammad, I predict that you like this fairly well. I predict that you have seen most or all of Succession.
Just ended.
Yeah, so whatever that means. So I think that you are pretty high on this. And you're going to tell us it gets better. Kat.
If I saw it.
That's my prediction, though. Kat, I predict that you have also seen this, and I think you like it as well. And I think that you're going to give this first episode pretty high marks, but you're going to have some critiques about it. You're going to say, in some places, but overall, but those are my predictions. What do you think, Muhammad?
So, Ryan, I think you're going to come in the middle on this one. I think this is not like your favorite kind of show. So I think you're going to be like, I see what people like in it, but there's aspects of it I really don't like. So I think you're going to come in like middle, not particularly positive, not particularly negative, but just kind of middle. Kat, I think you're going to be a little bit more positive about it. I think you're going to come in like that between 7 and 8 range. I think there are aspects of it you probably liked pretty well, and overall you felt it was enjoyable. I won't elaborate, so I don't give any hints.
Any predictions, Kat?
Well, I think Mohammed, I agree. I think that he really likes the show. I think he's seen it. Very high marks. And Ryan, I think you like it a little more than halfway. There's some things wrong, but it's enjoyable, and you thought it was a good show.
Well, everybody, you've gotten some helpful hints. Now it is time for all of you to make your predictions. Do you think I like this show, and how much? Do you think Muhammad liked it? What about Kat? Let us know. Take your time, though. There's no rush. Type away in the live chat or in the comments below while Muhammad here buys us a little bit of time by telling us what this show is even about. Because really, who knows?
Well, now you will in just a second. So Logan Roy, rich CEO of the Waystar Royco media conglomerate, is turning 80 and unfortunately has some physical and mental health issues. His son Kendall is poised to take on the lead of the company, but Logan is unimpressed by his handling of a recent deal and decides to truly at the last second not step down. Logan also tries to convince all his kids to let his wife get a position that would give her more votes on the board. Behind the scenes deal making and backstabbing abound. But then Logan has a brain hemorrhage and is rushed to the hospital. Amidst it all, awkward nephew Greg is a lost puppy trying to find a place for himself in the company and maybe in the family.
Poignant. All right. I'm lost now, Muhammad. What's next?
Now is my favorite part of this show. Now is what we call expectation, where we spend a little bit of time on what you expect and a lot of time on what you actually get in the show.
You don't say.
My favorite part.
Yeah, so let's compare and contrast what we expected with what we got. Muhammad, please go first. Lead the way. What did you expect before you watched this first episode of Succession?
I will say this is not the first time I'd seen this episode. There were some interesting things.
This is my shocked face.
I know, right? There were some interesting things that just happened recently, just before I did a rewatch of this first episode. I saw on social media there was an article in the New Yorker that compared Succession to Shakespeare, which you remember, this is the New Yorker. New Yorker.
Wow.
Like when they're saying this is like Shakespeare, that's a big thing.
Wow.
The other thing is NPR had a story just recently also talking about the music. This is all, of course, the things that were coming up in the lead up to the finale. They interviewed the person who made the music for the show, and he was talking about how he actually purposely has some of the music slightly off key just to represent what was going on in terms of the family and stuff.
Wow.
So, right? So very interesting on that. Now, before I'd seen the show the first time, I'll rewind back because I saw the first one. It wasn't actually that long. It was like a month and a half ago. I saw this first episode. I didn't really know what it was. I'd seen his pictures behind me several times on there. I assumed it was something like basically that this person was leaving the company, and this person I didn't know at the time was going to be related was trying to take over the company. I assumed that maybe there were some people in favor of this guy, some people in favor of that guy, and that's who the people were behind them. But that's just based on this picture that showed up behind them. That was as much as I knew.
What about you, Kat? Did you expect anything before watching this first episode?
I did. My one of my best friends and producing partners, Raquel Gardner, she's an actress, been an actress for over 30 years, and she's also an acting coach. So we're always talking about what we're watching, and she is obsessed with this show. I mean, obsessed. She thinks, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread in terms of television writing and acting. And so she's always talking about it. So I expected it to be really high caliber because she has fantastic taste and she really knows writing and acting, and if she says that, then I'm holding it up to a very, very high standard. So I was expecting a lot.
I like that. Similar to me, Kat. I had never seen this, nor do I care to, or did I care to. I have no interest. I don't know anything about it, but I do know that for the last couple years or so, I've heard little murmurs, succession. You kind of know what's out in the ether, even if you have no interest, even if you're not paying attention, you just kind of hear it around, whether you see it on Twitter or something, or people are talking about. You just know when there are shows that are buzzworthy. I don't remember if it's buzzworthy because it's amazing or if it's because they do crazy things. I don't really know, but I felt like this was kind of a Hollywood it show that people were talking about and really liking a lot. So I didn't really expect anything though. I was just like, all right, well, let's see. I didn't really expect to. I didn't even really know what it was about. Yeah, I don't know anything. I didn't even see this picture that Muhammad's talking about. I had zero. I just knew what it was called. I guess I kind of assumed that it had something to do with Succession. So that's what I expected, and all of us. Dr. Noor, however, what did you actually get?
We had two quick things on expectations. I thought of it as you guys were talking. So one other thing that is like both of y'all said, I definitely saw a lot of buzz about it, but even on social media. And I remember something, I think what got me to watch the first episode was sometime a little bit over a month ago, there was one episode that just everybody like exploded about like, oh my God, that episode. And it was like way more than anything else. Like there have been murmurs up to that point. Like clearly something big happened at this one episode. So that was something else that is. The other thing is like you said, Ryan, too. It seemed like it was the current water cooler show. Then Monday mornings, everybody's like, "Oh, Succession," kind of like Last of Us was not that long ago. Things like that.
Yeah,
yeah. So in terms of what I got, I liked it. I liked it a fair bit, right? And I'll tell you some of the things I liked, and I'll tell you some of the things I didn't like. So one of the things I liked was I liked the build to it. That it was interesting, just that sort of cold open with this guy like waking up, not really knowing where he is, peeing in the corner, and like clearly he's off, and then that immediately set the tone for like, okay, the title of the show is Succession. I see where we're going with this. That this is this guy who seems to be a big shot, and there's somebody else who seems like he's the next it. I noticed that their use of strategic zooms was very interesting. I don't know if that's what you call them, the little like where you see the person just move, they're a little bit closer. This was commonly in the office. Yeah, right. There was a lot of those. I thought the use of music was quite good, just in specific places. The way they were using the music was very good. The levels of deception I thought were interesting. And I'll come back to it because that was a positive and a negative for me. And the way people were playing each other, like the main guy here, the patriarch, I guess you say, Logan Roy, was playing his kids. They were playing him constantly. And this guy Kendall, like when he was at the end when he was trying to call the company, saying that pretending he wasn't Kendall, but saying like I heard Kendall has concerns about. Like, they were playing each other right and left. I like that just in terms of plot. It was a little bit heavy on the dark, unhappy meanness aspect. So that was a little bit like a little bit. It'd be nice if there was a little bit more or more characters that were just kind of fun. Now it did seem like this guy over here, Greg, is like the comic relief potentially, but we shall see as we dig in. But I had a lot more thoughts on specifics in the plot. But just overall, I came away like, wow, this was really interesting.
What about you, Kat? What did you actually get upon viewing this first episode of Succession, entitled Celebration?
God. Well, I'm so excited to talk about it. I agree. I think for me, it was like one of the greatest episodes of TV I've ever seen. Like it hit all of the marks. I think my favorite TV series of all time is The Wire, season 1. And there's a lot of similarities for me in terms of complexity. I mean, the writing was astounding, just astounding. I noticed the handheld camera was fantastic. The usage of that, it was like you're a fly on the wall of these people. And you're used to seeing families of that stature, and they portray themselves so perfectly. And I felt like the handheld gave this grittiness of showing that these people are anything but perfect. And they're trying to portray to the world. I mean, all they care about, Kendall's character cares about, is like what the world sees of him. Like he wants to show that he is now the head CEO, and he wants the press to be talking about him in this perfect light, and the layers of their relationships with each other. I mean, like Kieran Culkin he's one of my favorite actors. I mean, the way he was playing his brother, telling him he loves him and he's joking, but you can tell he is just like, he is plotting. Yeah, he's plotting against him so deeply, and like kind of giving him digs and getting in his head, and his dad. And you can tell Kendall wants his dad's approval so much, so much. And his dad is just like so cold and ruthless. And oh my God, it was spectacular. It absolutely blew me away in every way possible.
Wow. Sounds like it. Well, conversely, this isn't my kind of show. I'm not really. I have no interest in dramas or family dramas. Barf. This Is Us. I thought This Is Us was basically a perfect pilot, but that's kind of an exception rather than a rule for me. I thought that was one of the possibly the best pilot I've ever seen as far as family dramas and anything really. But this show is fucking outstanding. This is very, very good. And I'll tell you why. Character. Writing. I barely noticed camera stuff. I barely noticed even acting. And I normally notice it because the writing and the character was so well done. Every main character, even though they all, it was, I had to take a ton of notes just to keep them straight because they all look the same and it's like whatever. Plus, I'm not good with faces or characters, and I'm not good about caring about that either. But each character, you could see what is their deepest, darkest secret. What are they worried about? What are their deepest concerns and fears, as well as what is their current motivation, as well as what do they want to present themselves to be. Those are all three very different things, especially who they are on the inside and what they present on the outside. And we got to see that from everyone without even, they don't even have to say it. We see it. We see that this is what the person fears and this is what they want and this is what they want to project to get that. All in the first episode with a multitude of characters. That is hard to do with that many characters, but we got it for at least 7 or 8
Which
characters.
Is insane.
Yeah.
Usually it takes like at least 3 or 4 episodes to get into who each character is and what their deepest, darkest secrets and motivations are. And within minutes, we saw everything out on the table. I mean, I don't know if they like rehearsed relentlessly with each other to create a dynamic. I would love to kind of go into in terms, because it's a masterclass on acting and writing. I think any actor, any writer should study this show and this episode in particular, because it is so hard, especially in TV, especially with Ryan saying that many characters, to differentiate yourself so quickly. I was like, how did they do that? It just like slipped so naturally in front of you, and you're like, I know this person in like a matter of seconds.
Yes, exactly. We absolutely knew exactly who they are. Not who they present to be, but who they are and why. It was a great show. What do you got for us, Mohammed?
Did you catch who the Star Trek crossover guy was? He's like right next to my face, right there.
Oh yeah, Alan Ruck. Well, I saw it in the credits when at the opening credits it said Alan Ruck. I was like, oh well, let me just lean in here. But I also loved the old guy because I believe, and I'm not good with actors, but I believe he was in Super Troopers, I think.
Oh, you're right. He was.
But he's a very recognizable face.
You're right. You're so right. He's such an asshole in that. Sorry,
no, it's beautiful. Well, everybody's such an asshole in this in their own way. Well, one may not have been, and Greg. That may have been. I don't know. Greg. That remains to be seen. I was thinking.
I agree.
I was thinking the old guy's wife. Or whatever she was.
Marcy.
We'll find out later. I don't know. But she was so sweet the way she, like, show don't tell, right? He shows up to his party and she's fixing his hair behind him. I was like, that is the sweetest little, and it's just one little line on a script. She fixes his hair that's so freaking cute.
She was in the show Rami as the mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She
was very good in that as well. I don't think. I mean, in Rami, she was supposed to be like Egyptian or something. I don't think that's what she was supposed to be here. I almost feel like she was supposed to be French or something.
I don't know what Rami is. Rami Malek, the actor.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know the actor's name is also Rami.
Yeah, I think it's a different actor, and it's kind of like about him. You know, it's
interesting.
Yeah, WTF Rami.
So also, Kat, you mentioned I think Mohammed mentioned the music.
Yes.
That cool
So good.
piano theme song
Oh my gosh.
at
So
the beginning
good.
was fantastic. Yeah,
So
really
good.
good.
Like I would listen to that. Like it was so good. The tone.
Yeah, and even the pictures too, with them like the sort of old style picture, and they pick people who actually look like these guys. Like, yeah, that could be a young Kendall. Yeah, that could be a young Shiv. You know.
And I also think it was so interesting because, you know, especially as like American society, we put on a pedestal these kind of billionaire
Yeah.
families. We're all trying to like get there. You know, we want the money, we want this power. And then you see and you're like, if I was in a family like that, I would be, that's so sad. There's no love. There's no real love. Like no one loves each other. It's business. You're literally, your family is a business.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the thing that I was noticing is everybody, and by the way, I've never clapped from watching a show until today.
Wow.
It was at the very end when the sister calls the brother and says, Dad got a brain hemorrhage or something like that. And then it just is playing music while it's showing them in the hospital, right?
Yes.
And
I
it's
remember
like
that scene
really
exactly.
sad. And there's like that moment they're just kind of sitting there. And I just actually started clapping. I was like, you fucking did it, you guys. I didn't realize that was the very end because then it kind of just ended like 20 seconds later. But I actually clapped. Good work.
Wow.
But what I wanted to say about the family dynamic is that every character, you can tell, first of all, we know they're all miserable. They're all unhappy. Even if they're naturally happy people, some of them, or good people, some of them, they're in a bad situation and they hate what's going on. They hate their life. They hate this. And they all kind of have this motivation of, if I just get this one thing, I'll be happy. Like right now, this sucks and that sucks and he sucks and she sucks. But if I get this thing, everything will be good.
Yes,
They just want that one little thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, the truth is, no, like, obviously it would just make you probably more miserable. And, I agree.
I love the complexity, especially of, what would you say the actor's name was?
Well, his name is Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin. I figured he looks like Macaulay. He must be that's why I knew who it was.
That's what I figured. I'm like, it must be that guy.
That's his brother. Yeah.
The complexity of his character, like he's you can tell he's one of these guys who like is constantly like just throwing out jokes and insults, but he's super insecure and unhappy too. And it was fascinating just seeing that combination there in his playing. I mean, he played it wonderfully, including in the scene that Ryan was talking about, because, you know, if he was really like, hey, whatever, I don't care, he would have just left, you know, he wouldn't have stayed at the hospital, but he was there clearly stressed out, you know, and
Well, and when he came to visit his brother, you know, during the deal, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm here for like support, you know, and it's like, no, he's not there for support. Like he's jealous that his brother is there, and because he kept saying like, oh, you know, this wasn't for me, I didn't even want this, when obviously he really wants it and he wishes it was him, and he was trying to get into his head. So it's like all this passive aggressive, like,
totally,
you know, and to be able to play that and get it across in the way that it's supposed to, and not come across, you know, like the subtlety was just, it was unbelievable.
It was great. It was great. The other one I liked the guy from Star Trek. I think his name was Connor on the show too.
Connor.
Yeah. I thought he was funny.
When he gave the bread starter, the dad
the sourdough starter.
What is this?
Like, what?
And the whole time he's just like, whatever you guys want, I don't care. Whatever the three of you decide, whatever the two of you. I don't.
The conversation he had with the kid too, or the conversation he had with the kid about like, well, water's going to become this resource and nobody has access to it anymore. Like, what?
He's like, people are killing each other over this. Yeah.
I'm gonna have it.
Yeah, I could see why now, Mohammed, you mentioned that people were comparing it to Shakespeare. It's not so much the language, I wouldn't think, but the character types.
Yes.
The way everybody is like a character type, even just the four siblings, to my knowledge, I think there are four. They go about things in a very different way. Their motivations are totally different, and their character types are totally different. But speaking of that, we have got to talk about, who is your favorite character? I know Kat's going to hate this. She's like, don't make me choose.
I can't choose.
I can choose. Roman, definitely. Roman.
Really? The Roman.
I wouldn't want to hang out with him. He would drive me nuts in person, but on the show, I loved him.
I
What
can't
about you,
choose.
Kat?
I literally can't choose. Like ask me 10 episodes in maybe, but I can't choose. Like they're all so interesting. I want to know about all of them. And
Had
so
you
I can't
seen anything
choose.
else beyond this first episode?
No, you know
Oh
what's
wow,
crazy?
me neither.
I probably should have said this in expectations is prior to Raquel's kind of like, trying to get me to watch it, I had always assumed it was kind of like boring and, like, I don't know, like I was just like, it's like family drama, like, like it's been on for so long and it's won so many awards and
Season
Oh
4.
really?
yeah,
Awards
so
even, yeah.
many awards. And I was just like, I don't know. It didn't look interesting until she started talking about it. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch it. And then when I watched it, I was like, what? Why have what
Yeah.
in the world? Why haven't I watched this? So
Mhm.
no, I've never seen it.
I found the
Well,
quote about the sourdough starter. He referred to it as bread goo.
bread,
Goo.
yeah, goo, yeah.
And
I'll
I
tell you.
loved, oh, sorry,
No,
Ryan.
no,
I just
please
had
go ahead.
I loved how the girls, was it her husband, was like, I want to get him something that says, I love him, but I also respect him and that, I admire him, but not too much and that he appreciates it. And, and she was like, look, he doesn't even care. Like he has everything. He doesn't even care. So make it just look like you spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I didn't catch the first time I watched it, but this time I caught that he gave that to the kid.
Yeah, the
Oh,
watch, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw that
At
at
the
the
very end,
very
like
end.
the kid had the watch. I was like, oh.
that's
However,
gonna mean something.
it looked like
That's
the
gonna mean
box
something.
that came with the watch was there too. So I was like, I don't know how he secretly gave the kid. I could see him just handing over the watch, but he gave him the
Yeah.
full actual box. Or maybe
Yeah.
he didn't give the kid the watch because didn't he hand it over to the
Oh.
lady or somebody and say, "Here, take this
There
or
was the
hold this"?
person who did. There was the NDA person who went and talked to the kids and the kids' family. So maybe that was part of the NDAs. They gave him that.
Yeah, that's probably what it was because he
That was
didn't
good
have it.
because because Roman tortured him there. I was like, oh my gosh, if he just leaves with this, like I just lost $1 million or lost the potential for $1 million. Like, whew.
I mean,
at least you get like 15,000.
I'm sure I wasn't the only one that was rooting and being like, just I want
Just give
that
it to
kid
him.
to
Just give
get
him
to
something.
get it. I would have been so happy.
Yeah.
I would have been so happy if they did that. I've been like, oh, a redeeming quality among them.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, my favorite character, and I'm not even sure, I don't even know this person's name or if it's one person or combined with somebody else, but it was the guy that was totally fucking with Greg and being like, hey, do you want to kiss
Oh, that was
me?
Tom. That was Tom.
Okay,
Oh,
so that is
yeah.
the husband or boyfriend or whomever
I
of
think boyfriend.
the lady whose name is Shiv, right?
Yep, Siobhan. Yeah.
Same guy. Okay. So we know that guy. We know we know what's going on. And we know that type, the type that is only kidding if you call him out on it. Like the people, like the typical, like, hey, you want to fight? You want to fight? And then, if you say, no, you back off, then they feel all tough and they're like, yeah, I'm alpha. But then the second you say, yeah, I do want to fight, let's go right now. They go, what? I was just kidding, man. You weren't fucking kidding, bro. You're just just trying to test people. And he was doing it so beautifully and over and over and over again. And he secretly does want to kiss the kid and there's something going on there.
He's the abused bully, right? Because the rest of the family clearly was abusing him. And this is like his way of like, I'm over somebody. So I'm going to bully this person because it gives me a little bit of dominance on this person.
Power.
Yeah.
So is she the only one of the siblings that has a spouse?
There was another lady there who I was like, who is this lady? She was just there a lot.
That woman that dropped off the kids for Kendall
Rava. Yeah,
that was
Rava
Kendall's ex-wife. It seemed like
exactly. But there was another lady too. There was another lady just around, and I was like, I don't know who this lady is. So maybe
she's just like a helper or something.
Could be, or she could be with either Connor or with Roman. I don't know. She was just around. I was like, I don't know who this lady is. I don't remember they ever said her name or anything either. She was writing down anytime a name was said. I was right there in the right column.
What she
Me too.
Like?
I mean, it's just like straight hair, white girl. I don't know.
Like everybody else. Yeah, I feel like there was an extra person that was helping around the house. So maybe she's just a helper or she's
could be that too.
Something like
she
that.
was sitting with the others, so I didn't feel like that, but maybe not.
Maybe she's another cousin. Seems like there are some additional cousins and nieces and nephews floating around as well.
I love that kid. You know, the one, the cousin. What's his name?
Barfy Greg.
Greg. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be Craig.
Maybe,
you can call me that too.
maybe he's my favorite character because I feel like he's a sleeper. Like I
Yes.
think there's something really interesting coming with his story.
He's got the drive so hard. He is going for it. He is pushing hard.
He was seriously pushing hard.
And I think that he's going to disrupt a lot of, you know, negotiations and dynamics. And I think the father is going to end up favoring him in some weird way over Kendall. That's just like what I foresee, you know, like, I think he was my favorite.
You guys see bad things from Marcy though? She's just seemed like a little sweetie to me.
Oh, I think she's.
Well, it's unclear. Yeah, I mean, it's unclear what that motivation for Logan to try to get her onto this contract, whether he was just doing that or she was on the background.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a guess. Yeah,
it's a guess. Yeah,
because she gets 2 votes or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Do
you know who plays Greg's grandfather, who's the brother of Logan? Do you know who does that? It's the same guy who plays Zefram Cochrane in First Contact.
James Cromwell, one of my all-time favorite actors. He's the perfect guy to do it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's the brother of Logan Roy.
I can't wait to see because he was like, if he can ask me.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Line right
love
there.
That dynamic.
Oh my God, that was it. That's all you needed to know. You know that there's so much going on and there's so much power play. And if he asks me, then I'll do it.
It sounded to me like his brother is mad at him about something. That's what I got. And I could be wrong about this, but he's like, all he has to do is, yeah, sure, just ask. But then he reiterates, all he has to do is ask me. And so clearly there's either a major rivalry there or it's just one-sided and his brother is mad at him and is not talking to him. And it might just be because
for my brother.
Yeah. And it might just be because he got the heir to the throne or whatever and the brother didn't.
Exactly. That's like the great writing, you know, the subtlety, like literally just that line, and you got the whole world. You know, you could see it.
I think Frank's speech implied he didn't get it like hereditary. I think he built this up. So I don't think he's an heir. I mean, remember Frank's speech there about his birthday? I mean, he sort of implied that he built up this empire.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So what else have we not well, there are a few moments that made me laugh, like when Greg comes to say happy birthday to Grandpa and he gets roughed up, or to Great Uncle. I believe that would be his great uncle.
He's a very good actor. It's also ridiculous how tall he is.
Yeah.
Or when the sister says to Roman, she says, what is that, Date Rape by Calvin Klein?
Yeah.
And he goes, you wish. And she goes, I wish.
And they kind of held the camera on her, like, because you know it was like they held it like just a second longer to give her that moment of like, wait, did he mean he wants to have sex with me? You know, like,
it means he's just an idiot, doesn't know what the hell he's saying. That's his standard. Oh, you wish. And she's like, do you realize what you're saying right now, dummy?
Yeah.
Beautifully performed by both of them. Beautifully done.
I like the sage guy when the sage guy came.
Oh yeah,
like, what the
and it's like, you know, that probably cost like $20,000, and he's just like, oh, fuck off. I don't even need it.
And obviously when whatever his name is, the husband Tom, when he was screwing with Greg, that was just, I could have watched that for 45 minutes straight. I could have just watched him torture that kid and just waffle back and forth between, you know, I'm a real asshole. I'm just kidding. I mean, but I am really an asshole. But I'm just kidding also. Oh, too good.
There's some great burn lines too, like the comment that wasn't Rava said to Kendall when he asked, like, are you dating somebody? He's like, yeah, this person doesn't leave Coke smeared on the kids' iPads. Like,
yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you know, it's fine. No big deal. It's fine.
Yeah. And he was like, that's 3 years ago. I've been through rehab. You know, like, oh yeah, that's still pretty hard.
When the dad was like, when you were in like a facility.
Yeah.
Dad, I was in
It's called rehab. Yeah.
Man,
Ooh, definitely some burns in there. Like, ooh.
Yes. And are
no
you
wasted
crying?
lines.
Oh yeah. Are you crying? Oh, that
Oh,
hurt.
That was
Oh,
so
oh,
good.
oh.
oh,
When he's
God.
like, are you gonna cry? Are you crying? Like, he just
Wow. Wow. I
and
wanted
you
to
know,
cry.
yeah,
I
you
wanted
should
to cry.
have.
Yes, I know. And you could see like the tears welling up, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to. I'm not going to. I'm not going to fucking cry. And you're just like, he wants his dad. He wants a dad.
Yes,
So good.
it's very good. Kind of a toxic
Exceptional.
relationship there, in my opinion.
Very.
Oh, for sure.
All of them.
Yeah. Well,
We
I'll
learn
tell
from the
you
best.
something. I'll tell you something that isn't toxic. We're going to move forward a little bit and talk about you for a bit, Kat. How are you today? And can you please tell us what is new in your world?
Oh man, so much amazing stuff is
Ooh.
happening, but now we're starting to get into really exciting stuff, so I can't talk about it.
Oh, that's a
But
good sign.
Don't
yes,
worry, we're
but
not recording.
yeah, my film, my Elisa's Almost 30 film, we're like in pre-production um and it's happening. It's very exciting. And I mean, with the writer strike and potentially the SAG strike, it is shifting the way we're going about things. So it's really going to be dependent on, when the strikes end. What we're hearing in the industry is that they're going to end around like August, September. So if we could we wanted to start shooting around then anyways.
Hmm.
So hopefully we'll be on track to do so. And yeah, and I'm still working on my horror film. That one got kind of put off because of the writer's strikes. That one's not as far ahead, but it's still happening. And I'm working on a new project, a music biopic that's in the works, and it's all very exciting.
Wow.
Very,
For
very
the horror for the horror
close.
film, are you writing it or are you acting in it or both?
Yes, both, both.
Okay, awesome. What's
Yeah,
your role in it?
I'm going to play a supporting role. I don't want to play the lead. I think I prefer the supporting role that I wrote. I think I can just play it better. And the lead role is it's a very gripping role that I think any actress would want to dig into. It's really juicy. I mean, it's a story about a haunted forest where there's just this ominous whistling noise that makes people go crazy and kill each other or kill themselves. And these people
That's
are,
cool.
And it turns
yeah,
out it
people
was
are.
just Mariah Carey, right? Just kidding, everybody. I love you, Mariah. She sings really high
Well,
pitched. That's all.
that's the fun thing is that they go in and they can't find anything. There's no people. There's nothing. There's no creatures. It's just this noise, and where is it coming from? And so the audience kind of has to decide if it's real or not. And that's the really fun part about the film. So if we can shoot, this winter because it takes place in winter, that would be
Mm.
amazing, amazing, amazing. And it's going to be rough because it's freezing cold, it's wet, it's going to be snowing and raining. So I'm
Is
like,
it in the woods or what are we talking
the
about?
woods.
Okay.
It's in the woods, so it's going to be brutal,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
but really, really fun and really exciting. And on a personal note, my husband and I just bought a house, and we're moving
Oh,
in about 2 weeks. So
Congratulations.
still LA area or
LA, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's
awesome.
kind of stuck there while she's shooting these things.
yeah.
Well, that's
So
awesome.
That's
Congratulations. So
fantastic.
much great stuff going on. Wow. Uh, can you tell everybody where they can follow you online or follow these projects?
absolutely. Follow me at Kat Geren, KATGEREN on Instagram. Probably is the best. It has all my links, the links to all of my different projects and IMDb and all sorts of things. So follow me there.
You have a TikTok too, don't you?
I do have a TikTok, but oh my God, these kids, how do they do it? Like the dances and I wish that I could pump out content all the time, but it's time consuming. So
I
if you
thought we
follow,
were the kids still. No?
I want to be cool and I want to do TikToks, but I don't know how.
I love your content online. Goodness.
All right, everybody at home, if you want to give Kat some TikTok advice, you heard her at Kat Geren on Instagram, and I'm sure she'll Write it all down. All right, Muhammad knows what's up. He's getting his taekwondo ready. It
That's
is
the bottom line on the bottom.
It's time for the terrible twos, everybody. The two final questions of the show. And they go a little something like this. Question number 1 is, Dr. Muhammad Noor, and remember, you are under oath. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Succession?
It's a great pause there. So I wrote down a number, and I'm going to stick with the number I wrote down. I wrote down an 8.5, as that is my score for this one. 8.5. I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, I wish there were a few more positive characters, but between Greg and maybe Connor, it's like there's a little bit of levity in there to build me up and keep me okay for the amazing plots and amazing characters.
So 8.5?
Yep.
All right. What about you, Kat?
I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I already wrote down a 10 in front of your name in my notes. I was just predicting.
I mean, this was the best pilot you've seen, so it's fair. Is this the only time you've given a 10?
I think so, yeah. Maybe.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I think so too. Usually she gives like 1s and 2s. She's very discerning. She's got a very sophisticated palate. I myself do not have a sophisticated palate. I just like cheese and stuff. And hoity-toity wine and liqueurs. However, for this one, it's kind of a toughie. I was kind of mixed. Like, do I say what I think it deserves? Do I give it what people that it's aimed at would give it? Do I, put my own subjective, but I'm kind of a dick, So here's the thing. You would think that jerks like seeing other jerks on, but we don't. We're like, it's kind of like, opposites attract, but two of the same thing. So, I think what it should get, honestly, is a 9.5.
Wow.
It is very good.
It's very impressive.
If I was being extra subjective, I would give it a 9.1 because I don't really care about this kind of stuff. But it's a 9.5, and I could see people. I was actually putting my notes. I could see people giving this a 10 because I could not personally think of a way in which I would suggest a change for the better. I couldn't think of anything that would make this show better. I mean, maybe you could talk camera angles, or you could talk, whatever, who knows, directorial kind of things. But I could not personally think of anything to improve this show. So that would technically make it a 10. But I'm giving it a 9.5 overall because I'm sure I could find something if I really tried.
Brian, that's how I felt too. I was like, there's nothing that could make this better. They're literally.
Wow.
And it was only at the end, because at first I was kind of like the open was great. The open for this main character type kid, whatever his name is, Kendall was also very good. But then, I was like, okay, so it's going to be okay. It's going to be good. But then towards the end, I was like, no, this is really good. And then I looked back on it and I said, I couldn't improve it, because the reason it might be a little slow to some people, I'm assuming, is because they had a lot of work to do in this first episode. They had to introduce a bunch of characters and give them all the depth and the dimensionality that they deserve. And then you think, well, why don't they just introduce less characters at first, and then it's less boring? But the story really doesn't work unless everybody is introduced here. So they really had to do that, and I can't imagine them doing it any better. But that's what we would give it on a scale of 1 to 10. Here's the big question. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch this first episode of Succession. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, huzzah. Dr. Noor, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode?
So I mentioned I saw this once before. This was in mid-April. I was hooked. I caught up. I watched all 3 seasons that were out and when it was started in the fourth, but by May 1st. And then from there on, I was watching them as they dropped. That was a binge. But part of it was I also had that colonoscopy, so I was just like couldn't go out for a while. So I was like, I guess I was leaving with Succession on episode after episode, and man, I was dreaming that music by the end. But yes, absolutely, I would and did watch the second.
I feel like there's got to be some kind of colonoscopy joke in this show. Like each one of them is acting like they're receiving one as they're delivering their lines. I don't know. There's something there. What about you, Kat? Would you? Boy, it's a toughie. Would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
I'm going to today. I'm literally going to. I'm going to watch as many as I can today. Yes, 1,000%.
So you're saying, hold my calls.
Yeah, exactly.
Cancel everything. I would watch the second episode, and I might actually
drama
do
for
it.
You. That's amazing.
I might actually do it. It deserves it. Kudos to the writers. I don't know anything about who they are, what they do, if they've done things before, if it's some
season-wide arcs too. You'll like that. There's like season-wide arcs too.
Ooh.
But they deserve it. It's a very good show. Everybody that's seen it before is like, see, finally, I told you it's good.
Exactly.
And everybody that hasn't watched it, they're like, really? All right, I'll check it out. But you should. It's very good. But I think I benefited from taking notes because I had to take notes for this. I feel like if I just watched it for recreational purposes, I'd be getting lost because I wouldn't be taking notes. I'd just be watching it for fun. And I'd be like, I can't keep up with all of these people and all of these names. And like, I barely was able to keep them all straight by the end. But it was.
I wasn't lying that I didn't know who that one woman was. Like, even though I've seen the whole thing, I was still like, I don't know who that woman is.
So she's not important. She doesn't appear later anyway.
I mean, maybe she was in like the first couple, but then like she's definitely not in like season 4. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, it's definitely a show that's not like, oh, I put it on and I'm like working and I'm like, it's like you have to focus on every detail.
Yeah. Anyway, that's about it for us, everybody. Go check it out if you'd like. And if you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, type WTF and the show and where we can find it. So you could say WTF, whatever the show happens to be, on Netflix or on Paramount Plus. So it makes it easy for us because sometimes people suggest a show and it's nowhere to be found. But if you find it, then make the suggestion and we will review it. Maybe. Right?
Could happen.
And please make sure to give this video a like. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and make sure to give this. What?
Do we have a theme for this?
Yeah,
month?
We're working on that. Everybody, the theme for this month is
TBD.
Well, because it was going to be Disney spin-offs.
Oh yeah, this doesn't work for that.
But this doesn't necessarily fit Disney spin-offs. It kind of does. It kind of doesn't.
Like Moana, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's very Moana-ish.
It's like a Disney family. It's like the
actual Disney's.
Oh wow, very good. That's true. So everybody at home, make your suggestions. Make sure to give it a 5-star rating if you're just listening in, and in the comments below, tell us your thoughts on Succession. And what I'm trying to say is that this podcast was wily.
This podcast was a big success for Succession.
This podcast was the best ever, just like the episode of Succession was.
This gal gets it.
Well done. Well done.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. And until then, remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say,
which is, don't forget to be an organ donor and don't forget to watch the first of things.
All right, freeze frame like the random lady that Muhammad was talking about.